Hi everyone, I'm Diane Demetre, Master Mindset Mentor and Consciousness Coach, and I'm on a mission to shift one mind at a time, one business at a time, to a master mindset by daring you to be more. Welcome to Power Chat. Each week I'll be sharing some of the insights, shortcuts and strategies that I've developed over the past 30 years to help you manifest more health, wealth, love, success and joy in your life. Feel free to comment and ask questions as we go, and I'll do my best to get to them at the end. I'm here to help, so if you're here, please drop a hello, let me know you're here, and let's get started. Remember, click the share button so your friends can also learn how to master their mindset, and let's lift each other up with love and support. So, Wendy's here. Hi Wendy, lovely to see you. Robin's here. Terrific, thank you very much. So, let's get started with episode 13. Why can't I change? I hear this a lot with my clients and through the years of facilitating workshops, but why can't I change? Why is it so hard to change? Well, I'm going to tell you tonight. I'm going to share these little secrets with you, and hopefully it will become much easier for you to understand why you find it hard to change. So most of us have berated ourselves at many times over our inability to change. We make New Year's resolutions, and within the first week or maybe the first month, those resolutions are long forgotten and we close our little resolution journal. We want to be healthier, but our hand mysteriously reaches for the chocolate. We want to be fitter and to exercise. Oh, but the couch is so comfy. It's such a good friend. We crave a happier relationship, but we still walk around grumpy, wearing a long face. So why is it that we know what to do, and at times we even write it down, but when the crunch comes, we fall back into our old habits, the very habits that we want to be free of? Now, it's not that we're flawed and fundamentally stupid. It's that we lack resolve and resilience to stick with the change and install new habits. But why is that, you ask? Why is it so hard? Why do I lack the resolve and resilience? Let me give you the 3 reasons why you might find change so hard. The first one is the neural pathways we've installed in our brain from years of practicing the disempowering habits are very deep and they're entrenched. It's a little bit like the old vinyl record on the record player, and you put the needle on and the music comes out of the record player because it's all embedded in the grooves. So basically, we're the same. We move in the groove of our neural pathways. So if we've been laying tracks down for years and years and years, it is actually neurologically difficult to make that change. So that's the first reason we can find change difficult. The second reason is that our body has been neurochemically conditioned by these old familiar habits. And even if the habits don't serve us, we've actually become addicted to that neurochemical hit that we get. You may often think, why do people stay in abusive relationships? Because that abuse, when that abuse happens, they get that neurochemical hit of adrenaline. And even though the relationship is very toxic, they become addicted to the hit of the adrenaline and of the stress hormones. So we become addicted to the chemical messages that are released from our brain when we do that old habit, even if it doesn't serve us. And we actually crave a hit again soon. So it's that old adage, better the devil you know than the devil you don't. And that is a terrible adage to live by, obviously. So the third reason why we find change so difficult is that we have these neural pathways that are embedded, we're addicted to this neurochemical reaction, and then what happens is that our energetic resonance plummets and we get dragged down into the lower frequencies of anger and frustration and depression and apathy and lethargy. And we get dragged down into there, and when this is accompanied by the ego's sinister voice saying to us, well, you're never going to amount to anything, and you're not very good at this, and you're just not good enough, go ahead, you're never going to actually break this pattern, it feels like the entire battle is lost. So what happens? Let's use the chocolate as the example. Many people are addicted to chocolate and to sugar and to alcohol, and to all different sorts of food. It's a very obvious addiction. So let's use chocolate, which is quite a yummy one. So let's say you're wanting to give up your chocolate addiction. And it's an addiction because every day you have it about the same time, and if you don't have it, your mood changes. That's an addiction, okay? So if you'd like to give up the chocolate and you're saying, look, I'm not going to have that 3 p.m. chocolate to get me through the afternoon, or I'm not going to have chocolate after dinner, or I'm not going to have chocolate for breakfast, or whatever it is, and you go, I'm going to change this. So there's the chocolate, and your hand reaches for the chocolate, and what happens in that instant is that the neural pathways that you've entrenched go, yes, yes, that's good, yes, that's the behavior, yes, we know that one, right, grab the chocolate, you grab the chocolate, you put it in your mouth, the neurochemical hit happens, and you get that lovely high from the sugar and the caffeine, and you're feeling great, and you swallow that chocolate, and then you berate yourself, you ruminate over all your misgivings, over how weak you are, and so the cycle is complete. And no change has taken place. And then eventually you may come out of the guilt and the shame, and you'll pull yourself back up, and you might try again the next day. But after a while, if you're doing the same things over and over, you're just laying down heavier tracks, heavier tracks, heavier tracks. So, how can we master change? I believe that we can master change through conscious resolve and psychological resilience. That's what I've discovered over these many years on this journey myself, and from the research as well. So firstly, let's look at what I class as conscious resolve. The definition of resolve is a firm determination to do something. That's what resolve is. Now, conscious resolve is engaging our consciousness as our coach to help us be more conscious, especially at crunch time. So look at it this way. If that hand is reaching for the chocolate, stop. Ask for help. Even if you have to say it out loud, please help me. I know that this habit does not support me, and I don't want to be eating chocolate today. That's all you've got to do. That's all you've got to do. Listen, look, and lean into the omens. Act on your intuition and disregard the ego. What that little sequence does, what conscious resolve does, is it gives our brain time to embed new pathways and stop in its tracks. Just stop. That's the first thing that conscious resolve will do. It gives our body space to ignore the craving. The neurochemical craving gives us space. And we go, no, many times having a glass of water helps. You have the water instead. So they're all little tricks with whatever it is. And then it also recharges our energetic resonance and elevates us. And we go, no, this is good. I'm doing this. I am mastering this. And so conscious resolve gives us that space in our life to actually make a small incremental change right there at that time. And that's all change is, small incremental steps. Now, the next part of conscious resolve is considering that we can only live and act in the present moment. We can't act in the past and we can't act in the future. We can only live and act right now. So, therefore, we need to make change day by day and not project into the future. Don't project into the future. Don't make those great big goals that can be so overwhelming that you literally just give up because it's too hard. Because the brain knows that you can't get there today. So conscious resolve helps us to be present in the present moment and take step-by-step action. Because at the end of each day, you are a new you. So let's say for that day, you didn't take the chocolate. You're a new you at the end of that day. That's cause to celebrate. And so that new you can make a new resolution for the next day, which is not to eat chocolate at 3 o'clock again. And that's how conscious resolve can actually help us get the space in our life to make incremental steps along the way. This mindset shift to living in the present moment frees us from those awful emotions of failure. We actually can power ourselves forward. It gives us confidence and certainty to develop new habits and to practice them. You can do anything for one day. You can do anything for the next day. You don't have to do it all at once. I discovered this many years ago when I went through my career crisis and I lost everything. I lost my job, my money, I lost my self-identity, I lost everything. I lost the opportunity to be employed because I was seen as a whistleblower, and so my whole life just shattered around me in thousands of pieces of broken glass when I was 30. And I went into a very deep depression, a dark night of the soul, and I spent quite some time in my bed, in my pajamas, having a right old pity party for one. And I was so depressed and I was deep into suffering. And at one stage, I actually went, this is enough. And I had help from a friend at that time, asking for help. And I was crying out to the universe, help me, what is going on? I was on the brink of suicide. And in one synchronistic moment, I made a new decision. And that decision, tiny little step of change, was to get up out of bed, get in the shower, and obviously get out of my pajamas, get in the shower, wash my hair, give myself a jolly good scrub, and get out and just put on a little bit of makeup. That's all I did that day. And for me, the visual on that was that I had spent a very happy, successful life before that traumatic event. And I had laid down very, very deep, strong, empowering patterns and habits like tracks in my brain, like train tracks. But because of that crisis, it was as if somebody had pulled the lever on the train tracks and I got diverted. My brain got diverted down new neural pathways that I was laying down with depression and anger and frustration and the experience of not feeling good enough. And I was being diverted off the really good, empowering neural pathways. And the moment I went, enough is enough, I pulled the lever and I stopped myself here. And it took me a little while, but I connected back and I got back into the groove of the empowering neural pathways. I stopped getting a hit of the poor me's and of the excuses and of the neurochemical signals that my body had got used to. And I gave up the lethargy and the apathy and the resentment and all of those toxic emotions. And that's why I know that conscious resolve works. It's more than resolve. It's not willpower. It's not willpower. It's asking for help. Asking for help from the consciousness, from the universe, perhaps from a friend, from anywhere, but ask. Stop, ask, and give yourself space. Make one small decision, empowering decision, and take action on it day by day by day. That's what conscious resolve is for me, and it worked for me in changing my life very quickly, in fact. The second part of mastering change is psychological resilience. And psychological resilience is our mental and emotional capacity to cope with a crisis and to recover quickly to our pre-crisis state of being. It's about developing a psychological resilience that protects us from the potential damaging effects of stresses in our internal environment as well as our external environment. That's psychological resilience. Now, how do we develop it? I believe that there are 4 ways to develop psychological resilience. The first way is master our mindset. And that's why I'm on this mission. Because if we master our mindset, the world is our oyster. And mastering our mindset means that we need to adopt an empowering self-identity and an empowering worldview that supports us, that nourishes us, and that nurtures us. That's the first thing, mastering our mindset. The second part of psychological resilience, in my opinion, is to quality manage our life. As an entrepreneur and business owner, all of our businesses are quality managed. That means that they are documented and they are operated from the International Standards Organization of Quality Management. And the cycle of continual improvement in quality management is plan, do, check, act. And I believe that if we quality manage our lives by planning it, by doing it, by checking our results and doing an audit, and then continue to act again, improvement all the way, with quality managing our lives based on faith and not fear, we will most definitely develop our psychological resilience. The third aspect is elevate our energetic resonance. As we know, we must resonate at the highest vibrationary levels that we can. The feelings of joy, love, peace, enlightenment, compassion, generosity, gratitude, all of those feelings elevate our energy. And when we're elevated like that, it is far easier for us to be optimistic, to have hope, and to have a faith in our future. And then the fourth one is to go within, to actually enjoy solitude and stillness and silence, to practice mindfulness and meditation. All of those activities will develop a faith and trust in ourselves and in others. That's how we develop psychological resilience. So for those of us at this point in time who are going through severe restrictions and lockdowns, those of us who have lost our businesses and lost our jobs, you can recover. You can embrace this time as change if you develop your conscious resolve and your physiological resilience. In short, the more conscious we become in our lives, the easier it is to implement change. Being conscious overrides the unconscious habits that shackle us in the past. Because the moment we're conscious, we can pull ourselves up and go, wait a minute, no, that doesn't serve me. Being conscious gives us freedom in each moment to make new choices and install new habits, install new neural pathways. Or, like I did, was flick the lever and go back to the track that served me. Being conscious creates new experiences, which in turn creates new neural networks in our brain, which in turn creates new experiences, which in turn creates our reality. It is really important to understand how we are this ongoing loop of energy that keeps moving through the brain, through our neurochemical signals, through our energetic field. We are not separate in any way to this amazing presence that we are. And being conscious uplifts our energy and upregulates the chemicals in our bodies, and it changes our inner physical world as well as improving our general well-being. As I've said before, if you feel depressed, smile, because depression will come into your posture like this. It is really hard to be depressed if you sit up with your back straight, your eyes twinkling and smiling, crinkling, showing your teeth. It is really hard. I did that exercise for quite some time in my crisis, and I just did it. And geez, I felt like an idiot. But I knew that if I did the right physiological facial expression, that would trigger the endorphins in my brain, and then they would give me the hit that I was looking for, and I would start to feel lighter and brighter. We have a wonderful body and brain and energy. We have everything we need at our disposal, if only we would dare to use it, dare to investigate, to explore, and to be more of who we think we are. So once we succeed changing day by day by day by day, we begin to reframe what change means to us. And instead of seeing change as a challenge or a crisis, we start to see change as an opportunity for transformation and fulfillment. In my own life, I remember back in 2015, my husband and I owned a resort in Vanuatu, and we had been trying to sell the resort for about 12 months before, and we hadn't had any luck with a buyer who would give us the price that we wanted. So we held on to it and we continued. We knew that the time would come and everything would fall into place. However, Cyclone Pam hit, which was a Category 5 cyclone, came through Vanuatu, worst ever that hit the Vanuatu Islands, and pretty much decimated our beautiful resort. What was really interesting at the time was that day we lost all communications with our resort manager. We knew that the staff was safe, but we lost communications. And that day, of course, the airlines weren't flying. And then that afternoon, my husband started packing a bag to grab the first flight out of Australia to get over there to see the damage. And he was quite stressed about the whole situation, which is understandable in many ways. But for me, because I had been practicing conscious resolve and developing my psychological resilience for so long, I knew that what had been given to us in a decimated resort was the grand opportunity for change. And I said to him, this is what we were looking for. We were looking to be free of the resort. Let's not rebuild it. Let's just sell it as is. And we did. And we found a buyer. And it was easy. And this is the power of conscious resolve and psychological resilience. We reframe situations far more easily. We're laying down tracks. Lay down the tracks now in your brain with empowering habits and just stick with them, stick them in there, because the time may come that you will need to use those habits and you'll go, wow, this isn't bothering me at all. None of these external stresses are bothering me. And now at this time in our lives, both my husband and I have had our business decimated by all of the border closures because our business is aligned with the airlines, domestic airlines. So we've basically lost our business. But what's really fascinating is that neither of us are at all stressed or disturbed. We have just gone, right, moving on, pivot, and move forward with a new plan. And this is available to everybody. My husband and I aren't anything out of the norm. All it takes is practice and a commitment to yourself, conscious resolve, psychological resilience, and to know that you can master your mindset, master change, master your life, master your business, master your destiny whenever you dare to be more. So I encourage you now, if you do have a pen and paper with you before we go to the questions and comments, I want you to jot down the answers to this if you can. The first one is, what is the change you want in your life at the moment? Just write it down. Jot down a few words. The next thing is, why is this change important to you? Why is this change important to you? The third point is, what small incremental step can you make now, tonight, not tomorrow, to begin this change process? Small, just small. If you're a chocolate after dinner person, it's pretty obvious. No chocolate after dinner tonight. How will you apply your conscious resolve and psychological resilience to support you? Master your mindset, quality manage your life, elevate your energetic resonance, go within and meditate, mindfulness, solitude, stillness, silence, taking each day as it comes. And the fifth question is, how will you be more conscious of your body's response, your energetic resonance, and your habits? What will you do? So those 5 questions, if you were able to write down 5 short answers or key points that you can come back to, that will begin the change process for whatever change you want in your life at the moment. And as I said, slow and steady wins the race. Small steps, small steps. And if you have written that down, what you've just written down now is a strategy to implement change beginning tonight in your life. And that's how you can actually master change, and as you get used to it and you reframe it, you actually embrace change. It's not something that frustrates you and lowers your energetic vibration. So let's go and have a look at some questions here and some comments. Thank you everybody for joining me. Rachel said, accept that tomorrow is another day. Try again. I suspect this is a habit. You can do it. Yes, but I'll just share with you, I always endeavour to leave the word try out of my vocabulary. And I say this a lot to my clients and to my students. Do we try to put on our underwear? No, we just put it on. We just put it on. Try actually, as a word, for me, indicates struggle, that it's a struggle. So, Rachel, accept that tomorrow is another day and forge ahead. Probably has more power to it than try again. Slight differentiation, but the words we speak have enormous power. Rachel said, do you feel that the same process by making that decision of conscious resolve is similar for those experience heartache? Interested to hear your view. Here we go. I do know that you should fall in love with someone who loves you a little more than you love them. Okay, I think we're talking about relationships here, Rachel. Conscious resolve is similar to those experiencing heartache. Yes, you need to stop and take your time with your relationships. Stop and take your time and look, ask for help and look for the repeating pattern. There'll be a repeating pattern. And I know exactly what you're talking about, Rachel. So maybe you and I should do a direct message and see if we can sort that one out with you. Wendy Brown, I believe having a purpose. Yes, a purpose is very critical too. And acting on it, not just having a purpose, but acting on it. Have you got more on this, Diane? Yes, I really think it's hugely valuable. Yes, I do, Rachel, and I think we'll talk offline. Popping that makeup on and a lippy always gives me a lift. Yes, nothing like a lipstick. I know Wendy loves her red lipsticks. She has an entire bag full of red lipsticks, and I think that that is one of Wendy's empowering habits that she uses to pick herself up whenever. Robin said, too late to forgo the chocolate after dinner for tonight. Yes, true, I understand. Right, Rachel's got it, repeating pattern. Excellent. So that's it in a nutshell, everybody. That's how we can change, that's why we don't change, and that's how we can change. So I love that you're here. If you want to know more about my work, you can click any of the links. You can read more with Master Mindset, 21 Transformative Ways to Master Your Life in This Uncertain Time. I wrote this in the middle of COVID in April for people to help them move through this time and actually develop more psychological resilience. So the book can help you. If you're interested to know more, there's my website and there's also my free Mindset Mastery assessment. If you've enjoyed tonight, please share it on your Facebook pages and profiles so that other people can enjoy this as well. And if you know anybody who would benefit next week, please share my posts so that they can join us and we can all lift each other up together. And let's all dare to be more, dare to do more of what matters and have more of what counts and live lives that truly matter. So until next time, bye for now and have a fabulous week mastering change. See you next time. Bye.